I've consistently said this, and I will consistently continue to say this. You will never, ever, ever please the woke mob. You will never please social justice warriors. You will never please people that are obsessed with identity politics, so you don't even give them a chance. You don't even listen to them. You don't give their arguments any credibility whatsoever, because their arguments are a never-ending rabbit hole of nonsense. Once you give in to one thing, they'll find something else to be offended over. These weirdos are never satisfied. Never ever give in to them. Unfortunately, the NFL has bent over backwards and done everything they can possibly do, all while pushing their longtime fans away, and it still isn't good enough for the woke mob. Even Roger Goodell getting up on stage, or at least in an interview, and publicly apologizing to Colin Kaepernick, but all while admitting that they tried to reach out to Colin Kaepernick to have a conversation, and Colin Kaepernick would not talk to them. Yet they're still bending over for this garbage human being. And let me repeat, Colin Kaepernick is a garbage human being. He is beneath trash, actually. I should probably apologize to trash for comparing trash to Colin Kaepernick, because he is a miserable piece of human filth. Anyway, let's look at what Colin Kaepernick has to say. Colin Kaepernick blasts newly woke NFL on opening day, calls league social justice focus propaganda. You're never gonna please these people. Ever. Who thinks that you can please them? Who? Former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick blasted the National Football League on the league's opening day, or opening Sunday, calling the NFL's new social justice focus propaganda. Well, I'll agree with you on that, Colin. It is propaganda. So is everything you spew. Because Eric Reed, one of the first players to support Kaepernick's anti-ism kneeling protest, remains unsigned after being let go by the Carolina Panthers back in March. The NFL announced earlier this year that in wake of the massive anti-ism and anti-police brutality protest that took place in nearly every major city following the death of George Floyd, who died in the custody of Minneapolis Police Department, they would set a weekly social justice priority, embrace BLM slogans, and encourage its players to take part in demonstrations, service projects, and social justice-focused initiatives. So brave and stunning. So brave and stunning. And you see where it's gotten you? Absolutely nowhere, NFL. The NFL is also committed to playing Lift Every Voice, the Black National Anthem, before some games during opening week. None of that matters, Kaepernick said Sunday, if Reed, his former teammate and vocal supporter, remains blacklisted. So none of it matters unless I'm happy. And then when you make someone like Kaepernick happy, then they're going to find something else to be offended over, because it never, ever ends. It never ends with these people. While the NFL runs propaganda about how they care about black life, they are still actively blackballing Eric Reed for fighting for the black community. Yes, that's exactly why. That's exactly why. And then yada, yada, yada. Kaepernick claimed that the owners were conspiring with each other. Yes, of course. And even allegedly with President Trump to lock him out of playing in the NFL. It's just nonsense, man. So, again, and right here it says it. Roger Goodell says, I would love to see him in the National Football League. I know there's a ton of fans who would love to see him in the National Football League, but where Colin sits right now in America is where he's playing football or not. He's started a conversation on a national level, Goodell said in an interview last week. He did say, however, that Kaepernick isn't currently part of the conversation within the league. Like, again, you decided to bend over backwards for Colin Kaepernick and the nonsensical propaganda from BLM, and your longtime fans are sick and tired of it. We have idiotic ESPN personalities trying to spin a false narrative and tell blatant lies on television about fans booing, when fans are booing because they're tired of being fed propaganda and lies, and they're tired of people like Colin Kaepernick having any say-so whatsoever as to how and why the NFL does anything. And even though you've been over backwards, even though you've tried everything, even though you apologize to him publicly, even though he's the one that wouldn't talk to you, he still calls you out, because he's never going to be happy. Social justice weirdos are never going to be happy. They are always offended by something new. So even when you give them this, that, and the other, then they're going to point to this and go, well, this person's oppressed. We have to get more representation for this oppressed group of people, because the oppression Olympics is always an ever-changing group of who's more oppressed today, tomorrow, and next week. So congratulations, NFL. You've literally pissed everybody off. You don't have anybody to support you right now. You should have been focusing and pandering to the actual fans that like your product and support your product. Instead, you are pushing people away for someone that is never going to be happy, and he's always going to blame you for all of the problems in the world, even though he doesn't actually face these problems, because he's the one with millions of dollars. He's the one with armed security, even though he screams for defunding the police. He's the one that had all that police protection when he was in the Super Bowl. Who do you think was protecting this man? Of course, the same people that he is okay with people assaulting and shooting in the streets, police officers. If you guys like Colin Kaepernick, good for you. If you believe what he says, good for you. But at the end of the day, it's not hard to see through the nonsense of Colin Kaepernick, BLM, and the far left-wing push with identity politics. You guys have a good day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.